So here we are, part 2 of this video. I'm just gonna pick up where basically just where we left off. So the Simeonites were known for militarism and savagery based on the traits of their patriarch Simeon or Simon. Simeon is just the Hebrew version of Simon. Jacob prophesied of Simeon's future descendants, instruments or weapons of cruelty are in their habitation. Genesis 49:5, King James Version. Jacob continued to highlight the anger, wrath, fierceness, and cruelty of the tribe. Jewish tradition holds that it was the patriarch Simeon who proposed killing his brother Joseph and who pushed him into the well. And indeed, Joseph later imprisoned Simeon in Egypt. Genesis 42. Simeon is chiefly known for his revenge killing of the men of an entire city, together with his brother Levi after the leader raped their sister Dinah. Genesis 34, and that's what I referred to in the previous video in this series. The Simeonite tribe then was associated with the foundation of mass murder, deception, pillaging, abduction. As such, the patriarch Jacob prophesied that the tribe would be scattered. Yep, and that's exactly what I said. The Spartans were not native to Greece. The historian Herodotus noted that the Spartans arrived in Greece from Egypt. Interesting. The Spartans are also noted for celebrating new moons and Israelite practice. And the 7th day of the month, author Stephen Collis, who writes about this Simeon and Sparta theory, I'm going to have to look into that because I don't know anything about this author. Stephen Collins explains that this could be a corruption of worship of the 7th day of the week. And the Spartans are known to have worshipped a great lawgiver from their dim past, who Collins suggests could be Moses. Could be Moses. Could very well be Moses. Let's read further on. This is what I wanted to get to. This is really the main part. Mycenaean Israelites, an Israelite collection with the Mycenaean world, which is just another name for one of the original ancient Greek tribes, is nothing new. Strong links already known with ancient Israelite tribe Dan. It is in relation to this tribe that another link with the Spartans is suggested. Now, the tribe of Dan, let me just go into this quickly. The tribe of Dan was kind of one of a strange tribe, because the tribe of Dan basically dwelt right next to the Philistines' land. Obviously, in the land of Israel, Dan is right next to the Philistines, but Dan is also right next to Judah, the tribe of Judah. So Dan and Judah have a very, very close history. If you remember in the book of Judges, when Samson was going against the Philistines, obviously Samson being from the tribe of Dan, a lot of the men that fought with him were from which tribe? The tribe of Judah. Because Dan and Judah were basically right next to each other. Their land that was allotted to them was right next to each other. Dan also traveled a fair bit, but I don't want to jump ahead of myself. We're gonna get into this. So the ancient Greek poet Homer, who was actually from Anatolia, which is modern day Turkey, just as the previously mentioned Herodotus was, but we'll talk about them another time, wrote about a seafaring tribe called Danaoi, or Danaan, who fought alongside the Greeks at the Battle of Troy. The Battle of Troy being depicted written about in Homer's Iliad, about Achilles and Agamemnon. There's also the film that Brad Pitt starred in called Troy, with obviously Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom, a lot of good actors. It was a good movie. I'm definitely going to do a breakdown of that movie at some point, because or because that topic is important. But again, I digress. The biblical tribe of Dan was also known as the seafaring tribe and was actually condemned around this time in history, circa 13th century BCE, for being away in their ships. Keep that in mind, this is very important. Furthermore, the Bible directly relates Dan with Greece. Ezekiel 27:19, Javan is the Hebrew word for Greece. Okay, so we're going to go to Ezekiel 27:19, just in Blue Letter Bible. Ezekiel 27:19. Davan, Ezekiel 27:19. Dan also and Javan, going to and fro, occupied in thy fairs, bright iron, cassia, calamus, were in thy market. What does this mean? This is basically saying that the tribe of Dan and Javan were going to and from, were traveling. Dan was going to Javan and back, and Javan was going to Dan and back. Trading, because around this time, this is the time of the rulership, around the time the rulership where Javan was a great nexus point, kind of in the middle of the Middle East, and because when you look at the map, Greece is kind of in the middle of where that whole world was, in the middle of Europe and the Middle East. So Javan being Greece, as we just saw, Javan was a great trading point, another one of the great trading points of the world at that time. So Javan in the Hebrew, just gonna go into the Javan, Grecia, Greece. So as it says, Javan equals Ionia or Greece. Ionia is another word for one of the ancient Greek tribes, as we know now, is Javan or Greece. But the Ionians weren't the only people in that land of Greece, as well as Crete and all the Greek islands of the Aegean Sea, etc., etc. Probably from the same as H3169. Everesine, i.e. hot and active. Javan, hot and active. Active as in there were a lot of people there, there was a lot of trade there, it was a bustling environment. Javan, the name of a son of Joktan and the race Ionians, i.e. Greece, descended from him, with their territory also of a place of Arabia, Javan. So now that we know that there was a connection between the tribe of Dan and the tribe of Javan, meaning the Greeks, we read further on. Excavations at Dan's capital in Israel, Tel Dan, have revealed a number of Greek artifacts, and the latest Israeli archaeologist, Yigal Yadin, suggested a link between the Danites and the seafaring Danian people, linked to the mysterious North Levant land of Danuna, much in the northern territory of Dan / Tel Dan, again possibly all one and the same as Homer's Danai and Danan. They were the same. A lot of mythology, when we actually study mythology, a lot of mythology is just stuff that really happened, that was been highly mixed with the truth. The truth mixed with lies. That's what a lot of mythology is. Kind of like a way for the ancient mystery schools to preserve or hide or muddy their true knowledge. And most people that study mythology, they won't understand it. Again, I digress. According to Greek legend, the patriarch of the Danite tribe was Danaus, son of Belus, who likewise came to Greece from Egypt, fleeing from his brother ruler, Aegyptus. Could this be a parable with the tribal patriarch Dan, son of Jacob and Belhal, and his brother ruler of Egypt, Joseph? The most famous Danite descendant was the strongman Hercules. Now this is very, very important. The individual is actually a close parallel to the famous strongman from the tribe of Dan, Samson. Both killed a lion with their bare hands, which is in Judges 15:6. In reference to Samson, both were responsible for the death of their first wives in a fire. Both single-handedly wiped out armies. Both faced off against enemies, fielding giants. Both are known for their signature use of club weapons. Both are associated with multi-headed canines as well as snakes. Both drank water from that mysteriously came from a rock. Both tore down the gates of a city, which is in Judges the 18th chapter, I believe. Both had a weakness for women, and both unwittingly met their demise at the hands of a lover, identified as a man-destroyer who betrayed them. Samson by Delilah, Hercules by Deneira, to name some examples. Please note that both their names sound similar, Delilah and Deneira, but Samson and Hercules, I'm pretty sure that's Samson. I'm fairly confident, about 99.9% sure that Samson and Hercules. Hercules is Samson because Hercules came after. So, as we can see here, this is a depiction of Samson slaying a lion. Those of us that know Samson wasn't a Caucasian that looked like this. Samson was definitely a black man. But anyway, the Hebrew word for merchants, one of the tribe of Dan's noted professions, is Hercules, similar to the Greek word of Hercules, Heracles. Heracles is what he was called in ancient Greece. Hercules is what it was called in ancient Rome, just to clarify that. Could Hercules then have been one and the same as Samson? Yes, I believe so. Could what become a fantastical Greek legend have had seeded by Danite merchants? And could the same explanation be given for numerous other similar biblical parallels appearing in Greek legends? First millennia, Sparta was peculiar in that it was ruled simultaneously by two hereditary kings. Both proudly traced their genealogy from Heracles. Perhaps a certain writing genealogy that Spartan King Arius I highlighted was the genealogical link to the Israelites through a descendant from this individual. After all, Samson had a penchant for women of Aegean origin, the Philistines. I'm going to go into that as well. As for the physical appearance, shortly after recording the letter of Arius I, Josephus makes an interesting note, just how identical the Jewish and Greek people look. The fact that they could really pass themselves off as Greeks. So the Philistines, the Caphtharim, were one of the original people of the Aegean Sea. That's why it says Aegean origin, and Aegean Sea is a sea right next to, that encompasses the Greek islands, basically right next to the land of Greece. But the Philistines, as we already know, those of us that know the Bible know the story of Samson, know that the Philistines were the main people right next to the tribe of Dan that I previously already mentioned that Samson was going to war with. And obviously Delilah was a Philistine woman. Okay, but that's it for this video. Thank you for viewing. See you next time.